Hey, what's up, everyone? This is me, Dre. With this video, kind of undecided about whether I should have made it or not. I really deliberated, heard about it a few weeks ago when it occurred, and this is in reference to Renisha McBride, a young black woman in Dearborn, Michigan, who was killed while seeking help after an accident. Now, it's touching for me because she was 19 years old. My oldest is 19 years old, so it hits home for me because I could be the parent sitting at a news conference grieving for the loss of my daughter, but there's a lot of things that have happened in this, and for those who haven't paid attention to current events, essentially on the night in question is like 2 weeks ago. I can't remember the exact date, like around the 3rd maybe. She was driving late at night and she crashed shortly after midnight, and for a period of time, who knows how long. Don't know if she sat in a vehicle, don't know if she was wandering around, who knows what happened. All we do know is that close to 3:30, 4 a.m., she finds a resident, goes knocking on the door, and the resident of the home with a 12-gauge shotgun blows her face off. Now, there's a lot to the story that we may never know, but a couple of things have come about recently. First and foremost, when you see this article, whether you go and see a video on CNN.com or USA Today, wherever you go, you're going to see Renisha McBride, this black woman, as I stated earlier. And it was just found out a few days ago that the resident of the home, Theodore Wafer, is a white man. Now, the media is putting the racial spin, and by even throwing out the ethnicity, there's a lot of opinion about this gentleman because he shot a black woman. And when I'm thinking about this, I'm also considering, have the neighbors been interviewed? I mean, it's fresh, and this only came about a few days ago, 2 days ago, in fact. So people are, of course, going to question the neighbor, get their take as far as how Mr. Wafer was as a next-door neighbor. No one knows if he was the kind of person when you look at him and he just screamed bloody asshole, or if he was one of those individuals where you go outside to get ready to go to work, or you're checking the mail, or you're doing your lawn, and he sees you and he acknowledges you. You talk about the weather, whatever the case is. He could have been a pleasant gentleman. I'm not trying to saint him, but at the same time, I'm not trying to vilify him because a lot has happened. There is blame to go around because, one, as a resident of the home, he shot her in the face, and you have to ask yourself why or what made him so fearful that he had to, I don't know, open the door and squeeze the trigger point blank in the young lady's face. Don't know if he looked out the window. Who knows what the case is. They showed a picture of his house. Doesn't look like he had a window on the door to where he can peer out. So I don't know if maybe he looked out of the side window one way or the other. But it is determined that he opened the door, squeezed the trigger with a 12-gauge shotgun, and blew her face off. So there's negligence because he didn't call the police if he felt his home or his life or his family was being threatened. He didn't give any warning that he had a firearm and he had the intention of using it. But then you have to consider what are the circumstances, why he may have been fearful. And I can imagine, this is just playing devil's advocate. Once again, I'm not taking his side, but any one of us at 3 a.m., we're sleeping, dozing off on the couch while watching TV, who the fuck knows? But all of a sudden, you get this heavy rapping on the door. Someone is banging desperately for one reason or another, and you don't know whether they need help or if they're trying to break in. From that perspective, if you can't see that as a possibility, then you're really keeping a closed mind about this. We all know that it's hurtful for the parents because they're the ones that lost the daughter. But once again, it's not about a white man killing a black woman. It's about a person dying, yes. It's about negligence for the gun owner, but at the same time, who knows what the circumstances were. So this opinion is not going to get a lot of favoritism from people. Some people are going to be upset about the way I see it, but at the same time, I know for me to protect my home, because right now, it is a little bit after 3 a.m. Someone comes banging at my door, I'm going to reach for the closest weapon, and I'm going to have the intent to use it, or at least I'm going to have it at the ready position because I don't know what that person's intent is. I can't see who they are. I don't know if they have a weapon. I don't know if they have someone with them with the intent of doing me or my family harm. So for Mr. Wafer, it could have been that. So let's not put the racial spin on it. And even her parents said that they don't want race to be a part of it. Now her aunt, because she did a news interview, and I guess a cousin or a family member or a friend, someone else had said that, you know, to think about it, it was racism. I really don't think it was about racism. But at the same time, in the coming days, we'll see what kind of person Mr. Wafer was. There's going to be questions to the neighbors. There are going to be questions from his employers. A 54-year-old gentleman, I think they said he worked at the airlines or something like that. Whatever the case is, there's going to be more information dug up about him just so that we can get a general idea as far as the kind of person that he was. Now, along with this, it was just found out yesterday that from the blood toxicology report that she had higher than the legal limit for alcohol, and she also had traces of cannabis, weed, marijuana, whatever you want to call it. But she essentially was driving, crashed into someone's car, and then that's where she was left the scene of the crime to go seek help. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of character assassination, which I think is pretty fucked up. We're talking about a dead woman who was shot in the face for going to seek help. The only negligence on her behalf is because she chose to consume alcohol and weed and then get behind the wheel and also crash into someone's car. If she were alive, yeah, castigate the young woman, slap her on the wrist or something like that. But she lost her life. You have a lot of these motherfuckers that are sitting there talking about this, and this, and, you know, a young black woman who is this. I even saw on one YouTuber's page where it was titled that, you know, she was at fault, basically. And the question is, how the fuck was she at fault? We're talking about a young woman, and I honestly think that if it were a white person or an Asian or Hispanic that had gone up to Mr. Wafer's doorstep, pounding on the door, asking for help, the same shit could have probably happened. More than likely it would have, regardless of their ethnicity. But it's just the way that people are handling it simply because they found out this little tidbit of information. Just like with Trayvon Martin. No one knew until the trial about the traces of weed in the system based on blood reports. So we're not trying to retry that case. I'm going to steer away from that. I didn't mean to really mention it, but there are some comparison as far as how people see it, simply because the common denominator between the two is the deceased is black. But there was a physical altercation with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. There was no physical altercation between Renisha McBride and Theodore Wafer. And as I stated, I'm guessing that because she had the adrenaline flowing, she may have been disoriented, whatever the case is, she was seeking help. And instead of giving a gentle knock on the door, she was pounding on the door, trying to get someone's attention because she really needed attention, someone that was going to help her. She was just reaching out for help. And because of that, 3 o'clock in the morning, someone slamming on the door. Mr. Wafer was fearful. As far as what happened, I don't know if he said, "Get away from my door, I don't know who you are." But all we know is that he did open the door, point the gun right to her face, and squeeze the trigger. So he's going to stand trial. I do think that there should be justice, but I don't think there should be an outcry or any type of march based on race. I honestly don't think it was because of race. And some people, in fact, a lot of people are going to disagree with this. Some people are thinking that basically it's hunting season for all black people, but black people die at the hands of black people. Black people die at the hands of Asians, Hispanics, just like anybody else. That's why I don't see it in terms of race. I see it as a young, beautiful woman who had lost her life, same age as my oldest daughter. And that's what really hurts me, is because my heart goes out to the family for the loss that they suffered. So I really don't have much more to say with this. I certainly invite everyone to leave the comments. And if you like this video, I hope that you like, subscribe, and share. Peace.